Tony Demolition Man, welcome again, dude.
And welcome to you. Welcome to my home in London, England. It's nice to see you. Not, and just to let everybody know, we weren't talking for an hour before we started doing this at all. We weren't. We just weren't. But we covered most things. But it's so good to see you. You're looking very well. I know
Oh,
you've moved and you're in your new place. You have your new album. It was finished and it is out, and I'm very proud of you for that. And it's good to see you.
dude, you too. And the check's in the mail, man. So thanks for
Thanks.
all the kind. Yeah, I do have to say it's very impressive to me because in my mind, like, even though we've been friends for as long as we have, whenever I see you at home and there's color and it's not like black and like wrought iron and shit, like like I remember the first time we ever interviewed, we were talking on the phone, and you said you were sitting in the windowsill and you were
Yeah.
smoking a cigarette. And in my mind, I had this like it was a very gothic looking room with like black brick, and like
Yeah.
the window was like all like ornate, and you were kind of hanging out of it like a vampire smoke. And
Like
I said,
Nosferatu.
yeah, and then the first time I saw your house, I was like,
That's not
there's
what it
something
looks.
wrong. Like, why is it
Yeah.
why is it
There's no
colorful?
gargoyles.
Why is
There's
it
the
white?
gargoyles.
Dude, it's like where's the altar? I don't see
Yeah.
anything, man. So it's like, well, dude. So like you guys, I guess the last time I saw you in person was before
Yes.
we left Atlanta, and you guys were playing at the Masquerade again,
Yes.
and it was you and
Uh,
Mr. Hickey,
yes.
and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you had the other drummer, and
Yes.
like that show, I just remember like I saw so many happy kids that
Yeah.
show, and where this is going to segue is that there were these two kids behind me, Latino guys, and one of them was just like, God, that was a fucking amazing show. And the other one said, yeah, he goes, but I wish they would have played more off of Ave.
Yeah.
Even though there could only be black was the new album, but he like
Yes.
the fact that the first album name he dropped was Ave, and I'm
Yeah.
going like he didn't say black metal, he didn't say
No.
possessed, he didn't say
Hmm?
he was like I wish they would have played more off of Ave,
You know what's
and
really, you know what's really strange about that D is that we Bloodstock, the festival in the UK, decided what they would do for the first time is do a winter gathering festival. So they wanted to kind of, because Bloodstock originally, before it became the huge festival it is outdoors, it started in Catton Hall. So it was inside a hall. And it, maybe got about 1,800, 2,000 people. Now it can get 22, 25,000 or whatever. But then it was so small. And so they had this idea to go back to the beginning and kind of do a club show in Catton Hall and kind of do a Bloodstock, like an OG show, if you like. And so that was the idea. They asked Candlemass, who we had actually just been playing with in Mexico City on a festival, would they do their 40th anniversary show at this winter gathering? They said yes, of course, and they were putting the bill together. And then I got a message from Simon Hall, who was booking part of the booking team for it, and said, "I wondered if you'd come and join us to do something special because Candlemass is doing this 40th anniversary." And I said, "Well, okay, yeah, of course. Um, Special in what way?" He said, "Well, have you ever played the Harvey album in full?" And I said, "No, never. There's songs on there we've never played live and people want to hear." He said, "Why don't you do that?" So I was like, "Oh, okay." So that's what we did. Now, but later people said, well, that was kind of risky. It was like, I didn't see why, but I guess they meant because we weren't playing black metal or Countess Battery and we weren't playing stuff off Primeval or Temples or whatever. And it was one album. But we played the show and we got 10 out of 10 across the board. People said it was amazing. I had Fire Eaters on and we did the whole album in linear progression from beginning to end. And the response was quite shocking to me. And I remember coming off stage and I was walking up back to the dressing room and there was some young people Well, everybody's younger than me now, feels like. But there were some young people in the
Even I'm
corridor.
younger than you,
I
and I'm
know,
old as
yeah.
fuck.
What the fuck? And yeah, this young guy went, that was amazing. And I went, oh, thank you very much. And he said, I didn't ever think I'd ever hear that album in full in my lifetime. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I went into the dressing room and I thought, hang on, Harvey. It's only fucking 8 years old or 10 years old or something. So I went back outside. I said, sorry, did you just say you didn't think you'd ever hear the album in full? He was like, yeah. I said, how old are you? 20. And I thought, oh my God, he was 10 when it came out. So that was his introduction to Venom Inc., of course, but Venom in any capacity. And he loved that album. And his dream was to hear that album and thought, well, it's not like I'll ever hear the whole album anyway. And there we were playing the whole album. And I thought, oh my God, sometimes you disconnect from what's happening because you're too focused on you guys playing and what you're putting together and what you're doing. You forget. I mean, that made me then 2 days later I popped onto Spotify to get an update, and Harvey, the song has got 1.2 million streams on it, and I was like, fuck, and I'd missed that completely. I never thought about that, and I thought, oh shit, you know. We were in Sao Paulo recently with Forbidden and Violence,
Oh,
which
that's
was,
right. Yeah.
yeah, and amazing shows, amazing people, incredible musicians, and we had a couple of fucking really great shows. Chile, Peru, Brazil, of course. We had the best time, and we all said we should keep doing this. Let's go out again, the three of us, and it was wonderful. But the time we'd been before that was 2 years before with Possessed,
Mhm.
and we were in Sao Paulo, and this woman had come to me and caught my eye and said, Tony, yeah, could I take a picture? Yeah, sure. She said, would you meet my daughter? I said, yeah, of course. Where is she? She said, I'll go and get her. Will you wait here? I said, yeah, I'll wait here. Go get her. So she then said, I just want to tell you that she's autistic. I was like, that's okay. That's cool. You know, don't worry
Mhm.
about it. I deal with autistic people a lot, so don't worry about it. She brings this young girl. She's a very sweet girl. She's done these drawings. You know, doesn't make eye contact, but she wants to engage. So chatting to her and stuff. And I said, if what song do you want to hear tonight? And she said, I want to hear How Many Can Die from There's Only Black. And I said, oh, really? Oh, that's a strange choice. Why? And she said, because to me and my friends, that song spoke to us during pandemic, because of course it opens with the graves in Brazil, people being buried, and it's about the conflict,
Right.
all kinds of conflict of humanity, and. But I thought it was not that I didn't like the song, but I didn't consider it to have that much weight. I knew it had weight, but I didn't know how much weight it had. And so I said, oh, okay, well, I'll see what I can do. It wasn't in the set. Curran hadn't learnt the song, so we couldn't play it. But I said to her, as I was leaving, I said, how old are you? 13, she said. 13. And I said, and you and your friends love this song. Yes, it's our go-to song. It's our mascot song. We absolutely adore it. Okay. So now, 2 years later, I'm down there with Violence and Forbidden. I go to the show, there's her mum, and there she is. Now she's 2 years older, so now she's 15, well, nearly 15. She comes up, hey, you. She's like, oh, I did this drawing for you, and there's a drawing of the three of us. And I said, you know what we're doing tonight? She went, what? I said, we're doing How Many Can Die for you. And she was like, no way. I said, yeah, because we didn't do it last time, and I know how much it means to you. And to do it, to see that young girl's face. And then I do this thing with In League with Satan, because everybody likes to sing along. And then I do it with just a radio mic for the first two verses. And I went down to stage, put my arm around her, and she, she's autistic, so it's difficult for them to kind of speak in front of people and to expose themselves. And although she kept her head down, I had my arm around her. She sang She sang the chorus with me. And then afterwards, she was running around going to people, "Oh my God, did you hear me? I was singing the chorus." And it's on video, and she lost her mind. Now, again, that's the younger people, not the old people with plastic bags who were there in 1980, whatever it was. And, how that's the younger audience. And what we sometimes forget, I'm guilty of that myself, is that someone was there when Welcome to Hell was released, or Black Metal, or Primeval, or Hell to the Unknown. Someone that was their first album. But for many people, particularly this audience now, there's only Black was their first album. Arvia was their first album. Primeval was so it's like, we forget we were 16 the first time we heard Kiss, that Kiss song. But someone will be 16 tomorrow and they will hear a Kiss song for the first time. And it might not be one of the old songs, it might be one of the newer songs, but to them, that will be their introduction. And every day after that, someone turns 16 and experiences what we did with the uh, um, musical reaction. So, you have to keep that in mind, that the audience is forever young. We get old, but the audience is forever regenerating, and you've got to aim it at them. We could go and play a show, and of course, there's going to be old fans there, but there's going to be a whole load of new young fans there who've never had a chance to see you or hear these songs. And that's why I think the legacy is so important, because I want them to hear them the way we heard them. I want them to feel what we felt. So when they think, "Oh, I wish I was there back in the day," I want to give them back in the day tomorrow
Are you
so
kidding
that they
me?
feel it.
Right. And it's so funny that you were talking about that because, um, like my best friend who lives in Atlanta, Jacob, he's about 11 years younger than me,
Yeah,
and he was a reader of my blog, and he was at all the same shows, and that's how we became friends.
yeah,
And he is like his favorite band's Metallica. Loves Metallica, and I always used to rail him about like I was like, how can you like load and reload and all this like whatever, and he in Black Album, and he was like, dude, he goes, I was like 10 when I
yeah,
heard the Black Album. He goes, I didn't have the privilege that you had for the first. He goes, like, what was the first Metallica album you heard? And I was like, Ride the Lightning.
yeah,
And he was like, how many more albums did they have? And I was like, one. They had Kill 'Em
yeah.
All. And so from Ride the Lightning on, you know what I mean? And he was
That's
like,
it.
but he goes, I had the Black Album and then this newer Metallica. He goes, but then I had to work my way backwards to
Yeah.
get to it. He goes, but I'm always going to have a soft spot for this era of Metallica because that was
Yes.
the era that I
That
came
he
up in.
found Metallica.
And then all of a sudden I felt like a dick because
Yeah.
I was like, oh, boy, what a judgmental prick I
Well,
am.
the thing is, because music is such an emotional connection, it should be. If you connect with your music, it's an emotional connection, and that emotion is stimulated by a smell, by a taste, it could be your grandmother's apple pie, it could be the smell of your grandfather's pipe, it could be the smell of his farts or slippers or something, the smell of their house. So and it's evocative, that sunset, that particular summer with your friends on your bikes riding home, that piece of music that you heard in the pool hall, or while you were playing pinball, that just struck you and thought, "Fuck, I love this song." Those moments are inherent in us, and they're evocative because they remind us of our youth. They remind us of those moments where we felt vital and everything was possible and we didn't have the bills to worry about and all that kind of stuff. And that's valid. That's very valid. But trying to keep a hold of that when it's past and it isn't coming back is futile. So you keep it with you. So you embrace whatever's happening and you have your favorite thing. And I happen to like St. Anger, and I liked Load and Reload, and I liked the Black Album, but I was there, with the demo for Kill 'Em All, and through Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, Justice, um, and I've seen them a million times. And to play San Francisco and have James come down and then chat to him, and it was like there was no time had passed. They were two grey old men, but no time had passed.
Yeah.
because inside we're still that person, you know. Okay, the world around you changes, money and the business and what you want to do to progress, but fundamentally inside you're still that kid who wants to play music. And we must remember that. So we take that youth with us to give to the next generation, but we mustn't do them a disservice by saying you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Because back in the day, because they might listen to the shit we were listening to back in the day, going, "Oh my god, that's so fucking garbage! What the fuck are you thinking?" We thought it was amazing, but the world's come a long way, you know. So I want to take that. Maybe not the sound or per se, but yes, the sound. But I want to take that energy that we had, that vitality that we had, that the ugliness or beauty of the music that we had, the idea that you know it was this cacophony. It was like this volcano. It could go at any moment, and you didn't know what was going to happen when it did go. I want to give that excitement to these kids, so we go, yeah, it's great to have Spotify. It's great to have streaming. It's great to see everything on a TV screen. But when you stand in front of me and I've got a hold of both your ears and I'm going,
Yeah.
shaking your head. You go out going, fuck, I don't know what happened, but something's really fucking happened to me there. I want your body shaking. I want you to feel the power of it. And that's when it's real, you know? And that's why I always loved Motorhead and Lemmy's approach, because it was exactly the same. One, two, three, four, like the Ramones, you know, hey ho, let's go. There was no bullshit. There was no, you know, manipulation. There was just, we're going to drive this fucking car straight across your fucking body and then reverse it over. And then we're going to go home and you're going to go home with a big smile on your face. And I thought,
You're
yeah,
gonna be
baby,
you're gonna be
that's what I
happy that I
want.
just crushed you.
That's what I want. That's what I wanted. And that's what I want them to have.
That's so funny. You were just talking about Motorhead because I just had a memory. You know, I love that you were just touching on that about how like you could have a memory of something and it's whether it's good or bad, but like
Yeah.
every aspect of life, at least for people like you and me who are just like I mean I listen to music 24 even when I go to bed. Like when I'm
Yeah.
sleeping, I'm listening to jazz music because like music is playing constantly, and I remember the first time I saw Motorhead, because again, like throughout the day, I'll hear a song and I'll go,
Yeah.
oh, I remember that.
It's some.
And I was listening earlier and I had my shit on shuffle and I'm So Bad, Baby, I Don't Care came on
Oh,
from the
yeah.
1916 album.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it made me remember the time I went to see Motorhead, and after their show, yeah, I actually talked about that in my book. Is that after
Yeah.
the show, I was waiting outside. I had gone to the show by myself.
Yeah.
Like I had just quit my band my metal band at the time, and I'm just hanging out by myself, just like I'm like, why am I hanging out here? I have no idea what the fuck I'm gonna do. I have nothing to sign. I have no
No.
camera. I was like, but like I just felt like compelled to sit
Impulse.
and just
Impulse
wait
to
to
do
see if
it.
Lemmy would come out,
Yeah.
and I just hung out, smoking cigarettes, and all of a sudden, here comes Lemmy from the top stairs of the backstage room with two very attractive women,
That's not like
and,
him, is it? That wasn't like him.
like Lemmy always did, and he comes down and he's walking towards the bus and he sees me and he stops and I was like, Lemmy, I just wanted to say thank you for such a great show. But I was like, your music got me all through high school and stuff. I was like, and I appreciate it. He says, man, he goes, are you cool? And I was like, not really. And he goes, you will be. And that stuck with me forever because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I was like 20 years old at the
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, I'm never going to be cool. But then all of a sudden, as I got older, I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
not being cool is cool. Like that,
Exactly.
like we are all just
Exactly.
dorks and stuff. But that hung with me for so
Yeah.
long. And now whenever I hear that song, I go,
Yeah.
like I want to
That's
be
it.
like I wish I had a chance to meet Lemmy and give him a copy of my book and be like, hey Lemmy, I'm cool now. Look,
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean,
Exactly.
so like for you, what is that? Like what are those moments for you? Like when you're listening to something and you get kind of like whisked back in time to like a
I
good
think,
memory.
you know, I will always I will always, like you, I'm listening to music all the time. People are sending me stuff. I get invited to do guest things. I had a couple today. I do a few. I do some narrations and all kinds of stuff. So it's quite varied. But music's never that far away from me. But when I retire, when I go to bed and I put my sounds on, it doesn't matter what I'm trying to listen to or trying to find. I'll always end up somehow with the Stranglers, Motorhead, the Dickies, and I've just got that playing because it just makes me have that feeling again, have that youthful feeling, have that possibility is endless, And the band's done. We had some movement in the band, and when our original drummer walked out, uh, instead of things slowing down and kind of impacting, they moved up. So we went up two steps. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, that's interesting. And so, okay, we carried on like that. And then, of course, we had some more movement. And 2 years ago, and you would have thought it was all over Blabbermouth, and I was getting sent all these screenshots of all this garbage. And I thought, oh, fuck. So people were going, well, maybe think about it. I was like, no, I'm going to do what I've been doing since 1979 when I wanted to start doing it. I'm going to do the same thing, play shows and play music. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And after 40 years of playing venomous songs, and playing all those classics and re-recording them, by the way, on several output things, I thought, well, I can play them if the fans want to hear them. So I made the decision to think, okay, well, I'm going to play Venom Inc. And if I want to play my period Venom, then that's fair game. And if I want to play Applecraft stuff or anything else, I'll play it. And if people ask me to play a classic song by Venom, I'll play that too. And that's what I do every time. I don't plot them into the set. I ask people, what do you want to hear? And they'll give me a song. And if they give me a song and I can play it, I put it in the set. Because it's about them hearing those songs, not about the person who was there in 1982 and picked up that album from that record store and it meant everything to them. That's important. That is important. That time has passed over 40 years ago, but there's a kid who just bought it 2 weeks ago and didn't think he'd ever hear it live. And there I am. And he's asking, do you think, could you? Of course I could. And then I play it and I watch his eyes roll or her eyes roll over in their head. We were playing a show relatively recently, I think about a year ago. And I was on stage and Curran came across towards the end of this song and said, should we play Don't Burn the Witch next? And I looked at the set list and was like, no, because it wasn't in the set list. So then we roll into the next song and off we go. And while we're playing the song and he goes into solo, I'm thinking, why did he ask me that? Why the fuck did he ask me that? And it was puzzling me all the way through the song. So when we got to the end of that song, I walked across and I said, come on, why did you ask me about Don't Burn the Witch? He said, because there's a kid standing in front of me and ever since the show started, every time I go near him, he's holding up his phone. It's got Spotify and it's got Don't Burn the Witch on it. And so I went, okay, we'll play it next then. So I said, this song we didn't have in our set, but we're playing it for this kid down here. We played Don't Burn the Witch. And I could see he just lost his mind. Now, was I on that recording? Did we write that song? No. Have I been playing that song for 40 years? Yes. Is there recordings of me doing that song? Yes. Um, could I have played that song to that boy? Yes. Should I have not played that song that he was asking me to play, who he's seen do that song many, many times on videos online, because somebody in their underpants in a basement somewhere was there in 1982 and thinks it's wrong?
Oh yeah.
Of course, I'm going to play it. I mean, people can't decide what other people listen to, and it's their connection, it's their emotional charge. The same as mine was with Motorhead. If I go and listen to Peaches by the Stranglers, I remember the first time I heard Peaches and saw the video of them playing the song, and that's a motive for me. So this kid might have the only time he might have seen or heard Don't Burn the Witch could have been us playing it on stage somewhere in the last 20, 30 years. And he connected to that song. He didn't go back and go, well, hang on, so he did this and he did that, and this should be that, and that should be that. He doesn't categorize it. He just goes, I love that, and I've seen you do it, and I want to hear that. That's all there is to it. And so people get tied up in the political rather than just the emotional side of music. And music's freedom. It's the only time we're actually free. We can talk about freedom. You know, you live in the freest country in the world, and so do I. So are you
For
right or am
now.
I right? Well, we're
For
all
now.
free. Yeah, exactly. Well, for now, yeah.
For now.
But we all have freedoms and we all have restrictions, and America's no different to anywhere else. Some places are better than other places with their freedoms and stuff. We know that. That's the planet we live in, it's humanity. But what I tell people is when I go on stage and say there's one rule tonight, there is no rules. It means that you can just be free to enjoy the music. Halfway through a show, halfway through a Slayer show, right? Let's say they're doing Angel of Death and they stop, dead stop. And Tom goes, what are you thinking about to every member of 200,000 people? Are they thinking about where they park their car, what time they have to pick the kid up from school or drop them off, what the boss is going to say tomorrow on Monday when they tell? No, they're not thinking about anything. They're losing their shit. They're just there. They're just experiencing it. That is the freedom. That is the music. That's total, utter freedom. For 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours a night, you get to be completely free. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks about anything. And that's what I love so much. And if we can give that which we experienced to the youth now and have inspired them to be as inspired as we were to do your books and to do your music and your album and me to do records and travel the world and feel this emotion, then I think that's the best value. That's the greatest value we can give to the next generation, and they will then hopefully be inspired. Because you say we talked about playing to an audience of 30 people, right? But who's in that audience? Is the next James Hetfield in that audience? Was the next Jimi Hendrix or Richie Blackmore in that audience? Or Neil Peart? I mean, you don't know who's in the audience. And what you've just done might affect that person so much that they go away and they're the next Metallica or Rush or Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin. You have no idea. So, that's what I find is absolutely wonderful to play to an audience where you might see a 14-year-old kid, and the next time you see them, they're 28. They've got a baby, a family, whatever. But they're also the CEO of some amazing, or they've got a record label, or their band's like just going to headline Wacken or something.
Mhm.
And they remember when they were there and they saw that. You never know the effect you're having. So you should always strive for that and inspire as much as you can the next generation, because they're the people who see the possibilities we've now decided we've seen all our
Yeah.
possibilities, and we're happy where we are. But now it's their time to be inspired and go and chase what we were chasing, that success, and hopefully they'll be as successful as we were. Or and that could not just doesn't mean money, it doesn't mean fame, it just means contentment. Did I achieve what I set out to achieve? Yes. Have I stopped? No, I've exceeded what I considered to be my achievements. I'm
Mhm.
exceeding where my end point was, and now I'm just enjoying that. So I think that's a positive thing.
And to kind of go back to what you were talking about the whole like seeing something for the first time that like I'd been a Venom fan since I was 13, I guess, like I made my
Yeah.
mom cry when I brought in a vinyl copy of It War Was Satan. Like my mom looked at it and she burst into tears and was like,
Oh
my
my
dad,
God.
and she was like, "Oh my God," because I was going to Catholic school and everything.
Yeah.
And my dad he goes, "He's not going to burst into flames, Diane. He's going to be okay." Yeah. But like, all those memories of being a Venom fan, and I never got to see Venom because by the time I
Yeah.
was old enough to really, start
Be
going to
able
shows
to,
and whatnot,
yes,
like they were gone. It was long gone
yes,
when you guys played in Atlanta for the first time as Venom Inc.
Yeah.
And you guys came out because the last Venom album that I bought was Primeval up until that
Right.
point. And
Okay.
I remember, and you guys came out and you opened with Primeval.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved that every bit as much as I loved hearing like black metal for the first time, or countless batteries, and just like what, but that was a good example of that,
Yeah.
where I was like, even though I'd been a fan for so long, to get to hear this era of
Yeah.
Venom with for the first time was exciting to me. And so
Yeah.
I connect with those people that you were talking about, like these kids who are like, like the kid I heard at the show who was like, I wish they would have played more off of Ave, or like,
Yeah.
I wish you would have played this, from There's Only
Yeah.
Black. I mean, so it, before you started to hear this stuff, because I know, like, especially with the Venom Inc. thing, you guys were rightfully so playing more so of the classic
Classic
Chronos
stuff.
era
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
Yes.
so at what point though did you start to hear this kind of feedback enough to where you were like, huh,
Well,
so they
that's
like my stuff enough that maybe I
yeah.
should start kind of counterbalancing,
It
you
was
know?
always after releasing Arve, which it did really well. The album did really well as far as acknowledgements and focus, and it put us back on the map properly. And I didn't want to make an album. I told John Sazula, when he was pushing, and Chuck Billy, I was like, the album, no, let's just tour, because if we try to make an album, it's going to turn into a fucking shit pile, because they're going to be arguing about publishing and the writing, and it's just a mess. And then the logistics, and I didn't want to get political. I didn't want to get into all that fucking arguing and who did what and why did you do it, and because you work in Congress with everybody, and those two at the time did not want to work in Congress, because they had different ways of working. I could be flexible. I did attempt to, and I didn't make anything any better. And I just thought, I just don't want to get into that. But eventually, John was like, "You have to." So okay, we did it. And I said, "Well, okay, we'll do a few tracks and then send the demo out." But we only send it to one record company. If they come back and go no, then that's it. No more record companies. I'm not putting myself through that. I don't need to. I don't give a shit. I'll go out and play as many shows as I want to play. I can play 1,000 shows a year, play all the music I want to play with the freedom I've got. 20 people here, 100 people there, 5,000 people there, makes no difference to me. I just want to play music to people. So we did the demo, sent it off. Nuclear Blast went brilliant, making an album. I was like, oh, fuck's sake, here we go. And I was right. I was right. All the shit that was going to happen happened. All the arguments that were going to happen happened. All the skullduggery that was going to go on. All the backhanded stuff and the gutter snipe shit. All was happening, and I thought, this is not. I'm not interested. I'm too fucking old for that. So I had no patience for it, and I still don't. I still don't now. And it's like I would just want to. If we're going to make some new music, let's make it, and we'll put it out, and we'll go and play it. So I intended that the idea would be to play the album predominantly, and with chorus, we'd put a couple of fucking classics in if they wanted to, because we were Venom and we've got a whole load of catalog we can play. But very quickly, it became about those same songs over and over, the Die Hard, Countless Battery, black metal, they just. And so I thought, okay, well, if we're going to do that, then we need to go back to the beginning. So we need to play the first single, A and B side, the second single, A and B side. So we did Anomaly with Bloodlust. We did Live Like an Angel with Indigo Satan. And then I wanted to do every song on Welcome to Hell, which we ended up doing, Red Light Fever, Poison, all of them. And then move on to black metal, which we did. We even closed Alcatraz and did Vakken and Bloodstock doing the black metal anniversary album, the whole album, beginning to end, no nothing else, just the album, which runs at something like 55 minutes. We had 50 minutes, and that's what we did. Um, but I wanted to then go on to a War with Satan, but they couldn't play War with Satan live. And then there was tracks on the War with Satan they didn't want to play because Conrad had written them. And then we got to Possessed. Well, Conrad had heavily written on Possessed, so that was not going to happen. And I just thought, hang on, this is missing the whole point. This whole point is to bring those songs that people haven't heard live, Mystique, Flytrap, all of those songs, Cry Wolf, whatever it is, and play the fans who bought these songs the songs they bought. Let's just play everything because we could do it. But that's where the focus then, and I lost the focus of where I should have had. What I should have had is kept the focus on the Harvey album, and then what was coming after that, and supplemented it because it's Venom Incorporated. It's not a corporation. It wasn't about challenging another Venom. It was about incorporating, meaning that any song that we had ever done, be it together or separately, we could play live if we wanted to. So if there was a song from a solo album or a song from an Atomcraft album or a song from a period that we were involved in, any one of us, we could introduce it in and we could play it. And we were justified to play that. That was the idea of incorporating Venom into who we were, into what we did, because it was a huge part of our life. But people saw it for the wrong thing, and the propaganda began. And then I think the personnel also saw it as the wrong thing, and they ran away with that. And it started to change the whole taste. And it was like, hang on, this is not it. And during that period, I would have people constantly saying, could you play some more off Harvey? Why don't you play Preacher Man? You've never played this, you never played that. I love black and roll. And I would go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we get to a show, write down a set list, and of course all those songs went to the wayside because, that was a drop B, so we need to have a second guitar, a guitar change. And so he's only bringing one guitar, so he doesn't want to have to retune. So, we kind of were restricted. So it's almost like we played Living After Midnight, the Countess Battery. We played Exciter, which all those songs that were based on those songs, the simple songs, we were playing them. Were they popular? Yes. Did people want to hear them? Yes, of course. I could go and see Motorhead. If they didn't play Overkill, because they played it 5 billion times every time they ever played, that's fine for them. But I would go, no, yeah, you don't have to play that because you play it all the time. But if you didn't play it, a little piece of me inside broke, and I thought, fuck, I wish they'd played Overkill. So you kind of want it. But but I hadn't put the focus on that. As soon as the table shape changed, with the boys in. I put all those songs in that I've been wanting to put in. They were open to everything. And now we play it and culminating, and we played Harvey in full. And in the new set, we're going up with Zach Wild and Black Label Society in June, May and June. And we do almost the whole run with Black Label Society, and then we jump off to do some recording. And the last week, I think they have Metal Church as a guest, and then Sacred Right come in as a guest and fill in the gaps. But we're doing a relax, so that's a great opportunity that we don't have to play the Sons of Satan's and Witching Hours and stuff, but we can play. The progressive stuff. We can play Bloodstained Earth. We can play Preacher Man. We can play the Primevals, and we can actually put body back into the songs. I mean, we put Cursed in from the Wastelands album.
The Wastelands,
And
yes.
yeah, we put Cursed in from that album. On the tour we did in Europe with Hate and Christian and Aether. And it went down magical every night. And I was like, oh, fuck. So now we've kept it in the set. Every time we do it, it's something different happens. Now that song's been lying there for fucking 30 odd years, not being played. And it's like, wow. So digging into the material, pulling it out and doing it as Men Inc., there's so much more richness. We don't have to keep playing the same things over and over and over again. But again, I'll underline, if a fan says there's a song that has a particular meaning and they get to me before we do the show and we can play that song, then I'm going to play it for that fan because that's their moment and I want them to have that moment. So yeah, it's been unusual, but even now, so many requests for There's Only Black, the album, all the tracks. They go, oh, are you going to play it? There's always the tracks from there. And, Come to Me did really well. There's Only Black did really well. How Many Can Die did really well through streaming. And, they're kind of big hitters. And so, we could have an hour set and not touch any old Venom songs, and probably not even get to Primeval songs if we put the set together. So it's good to be in that position. And now we're recording for a new album. So the situation we're in at the minute is we've just got new management, we just got a new agent, We've got some festivals coming up. We got the Black Label Society tour. We just announced some dates in the UK. We've got a live album going out in a couple of months' time. Then we've got a mini album going out in is not long after that, with two new songs on, two re-recorded songs, and something else quite special. And then we've got a special live session, which we did with Kiss FM in Sao Paulo, where we did a live session. We did 5 songs live, and that's going to go out as an audio piece. As a piece of vinyl, which would be interesting, and that's going out, and then the new album, which will go out towards the end of the year, which we're working on now. So, I mean, it's all to play for. We got lots of exciting things coming up, and we're producing as much music. Again, something we didn't do before, And Curran Murphy, in particular, was like, "Why don't we just fucking keep recording, keep putting it out?" And I'm like, "Okay." I didn't have
Let's
that
do
kind
it,
of
right? Yeah.
interest. Yeah, I didn't have that kind of excitement before. It was most of the time it was a nightmare, and so to have that kind of level of excitement where the guys really want to get out and play as many shows as they can, they want to record constantly, they're inventive, they keep coming up with new ideas. It's like so exciting, and again, we seem to be moving up and up. So I can't complain about anything, and hence why I feel so enthused by the whole thing and so excited. After having to deal with politics for like 30, 40 years, and have to deal with arguments and grumpiness and all kinds of logistical stuff that isn't working. Now I get to just to be that musician and just to enjoy everything. You go to Lima and you can't go to Machu Picchu because someone doesn't want to go. Oh, I don't want to go. I mean, I remember going to Sydney, Australia, and literally I could see the top of Sydney Harbour Bridge, knowing that the Opera House was right next to it. It was literally, I could see it from the hotel room. So I asked, could someone just give us a quick ride so we could go and have a look at it? And then trying to get the rest of your band to come on. Oh no, I've got Wi-Fi here. I'm going to stay here. It's like, fucking hell, it's the first time we've been in Australia. It's right there. And, so I realized that they just didn't want to, but I wanted to. And now I'm in a situation where I go, "Do you guys fancy going to the beach?" And they're like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." So we go. It's like, oh, right, yeah, fantastic. So it kind of revitalizes the whole thing. It makes me reevaluate the whole thing. And the music feels so productive. Curran Murphy and Mark Jackson, I mean, their playing is just incredible, and I find myself, listening to them while it's happening on stage and thinking, "Holy shit!" It just everything seems possible now. Unfortunately, I'm old, so that's a share. But I watch my diet, and I stopped smoking, and I try to keep as fit as I can so I can last a bit longer to enjoy this a bit more. And it was quite funny the other day. Someone said to me, "What do you reckon? You got at least a good 18 years left, haven't you?" And I was like, "Fucking hell, stop it."
You're like, I hope not.
Oh my God. I hope at least 18.
At
But
least, yeah.
yeah, sometimes the reality sort of strikes you. But, I mean, I think the thing is to be in the moment, Um, the water flows and the water touches your skin, and that's all you've got, that touch for that moment. When it passes, it's past. Let it go, let it go, let it do what it wants. It'll find its own way, it'll create its own direction and its own divots and its holes, and it'll fill up and do its own thing. You can't control it. And the water that's ahead of you coming downstream hasn't touched you yet. You've got no idea. It could be hot, could be cold, could have fish in it, could have nothing in it, might miss you. You don't know what bit's going to hit you. So all we actually have is the water that's touching us at the minute. So stay in that moment, stay in that moment. But I try that, and that's where I am. So I've moved on, and it's 2 years with this new lineup, and it's been the best 2 years of 4 years, without a doubt. And I can't wait to get the new music out, have the live stuff out, and the new shows we've got coming up, and it's distinctively Venom Incorporated, and that's wonderful. So there'll still be old school people like trying to mash it up and kick it in the shins and compare it to something else, but it's futile. I mean, considering they all went like, "Oh, you have no right to be playing a black metal or something like that." It was fine while while the other guys were in the band, but now they're not in the band. It's not fine. Well, I didn't leave, did I? They left, so
I was just gonna say,
oh,
but why not? Because you were still Venom
yes,
playing black metal, and
exactly.
people can forget shit like that when you're just like,
Yes,
oh, wait a minute, because even though you might not have been on the recording, when you were touring for Primeval and when you were touring for Wastelands and whatnot, you were playing this, you were Venom. You
since
were a part of
'89.
Venom. And so when there's other dudes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
see you
I
later.
mean, yeah, it's a futile argument. It's a futile argument. I mean, again, we're talking about that emotional connection for them, and I can understand that because I have them too. So I can see what they're trying to say, and I can see why they feel they're perturbed. But they haven't lost anything. They still have those records. Those people are still alive. If they want to see them and hear them doing the song, then encourage them to go and play those songs and go listen to them. I'm not saying they can't, but I'm saying when I've been fronting it and dealing with it and doing it for so long, you can't tell me now I can't be doing it.
Right.
However, I don't need to rely on that. That's not why I do it. And anybody who says the alternate has got their own, agenda, which I couldn't give two fucks about, really. What I care about is playing music to people. That's what I cared about originally. That's what had me doing this and traveling the world and connecting with people. I still do that on every level, and I'm quite content to do that. So I leave the water that's passed by, and yeah, I'm only fishing in the water I'm standing in.
And it's so funny because to for you to do this, and it's so hard because a lot of people don't allow that water to pass by. A lot of people, they'll create that dam and they'll hold
Yeah,
that water, and then it'll just that water becomes toxic, you
yeah,
know. And dude, we've been friends for a long time. And
we have now. Yes,
this is the most animatedly happy I've seen you. And I'm not gonna lie, like, of course I haven't seen it live, but every time you send me a video, I always watch Curran and Jackson and you. Like when I was watching you and Curran on stage, and I was like, that is fucking chemistry.
yeah,
Like that is like it was one of those things that when you see a video of a band and you're like, I should be in that fucking crowd right
yeah,
there,
yeah,
raging my head off because
yeah,
because dude, anytime I see you when you're on stage, you're not Tony, my buddy, like you're fucking Demolition Man from Venom, and Venom Inc. And watching that chemistry that you guys have just made me excited again. It made
yeah.
me excited to see this lineup.
Well, there was
And
there was there was just to underline that because there is a magical chemistry. I find it with Jackson. I always had it with Jackson, and to have Curran on that same, it's completely different, and I feel completely like happiest I've ever been, in the best place we've ever been as a band, sonically and personally. But the magic that got for me was we played Poland and rock, and we played a place in Romania, Rockstadt, and we got a call saying. Poland and Rock, which is like a Polish version of Woodstock, it's fucking gigantic. 1.2 million people go. Poland and Rock have had a band drop out. Sick of it all, can't play it. They were going to open the main stage. We've had a request to go. Do you think Venom Inc. would be able to come from Rockstadt? Would they do it? So I said, yeah, why not? We're already fucking near here, so why not? So we finished at Rockstadt, 11 o'clock at night. We had to get a bus then, get all our stuff together. We jumped on a bus that took us to the airport. 5 hours to the airport. We get to the airport, wait for the first plane, then fly to Warsaw. There's a van there to pick us up. We then get into that van, drive another 5 hours to this location. We come in, there's all this wonderful backstage food, and there's, oh, you can get hot food down there, and there's this, and do you just want any more wine or whatever? And we're like, oh, yeah, we'll get some food, thank you. And then someone comes in and goes, I think it was Soundman TM or whatever, and goes, no, you haven't got any time to eat. We're on it. We're on in a minute. It was like, what? We've only just got here. They went, no, no, no. So we're like, fuck. So we had to run on the stage, get all our stuff sorted out. Literally got our stuff sorted out. ran back to the dressing room, put our stage clothes on, ran back to the show, and all our stuff was still wet from the show we just played in fucking Romania. Ran up, and that was it. And they said, "You've only got 50 minutes, 40 minutes." I was like, 40 minutes, okay. So I was like, right, I'll just call the set as we go along. We came off after an hour and a half. They kept going, go back on, go back on. So we had bombs and flames, and it was mental. And when we started, there was, I don't know, they said there was like 6,000 people around. Amazing. By the end, because everything that was just opening, by the end of our show, there was 500,000 people in front of us. And we were like, what the fuck's going on? It was mental. And, but this is the point I was saying, which turned everything for me. They set the flame jets off, and we opened with Witching Hour because people were like, "Oh, do a Venom classic." So to open, so it was like, "Okay, well, let's open with Witching Hour." It's a great opener. So that was what we did. The our lighting guy hit the triggers for the flame jets, but they stuck, so the flames stayed on. I couldn't get to the microphone, so I think we had to keep playing around the bar
You play that
opening,
intro over and over
waiting for the
again.
fucking flames to go out so I could get to the microphone. And once they did go, I went to the microphone. As I put my lips on the mic, I could see when I could see the
Ah!
smoke. I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna die. But those guys kept playing. They saw that I couldn't get to the microphone. And when I got to the microphone, they picked it up exactly on point, and we played the whole song. If that had been the old band, they would have finished the song as I got to the microphone and then went, "What happened?" It was like, I said, there's no way they would have held that for me because it had happened before many, many, many times. I remember falling over onto the floor once when my hip was so bad. I came off the monitor and my hip gave way and I fell on my back. And I laid there for the whole song trying to play it, not hit the mic or nothing, nobody helping me up, nothing. And they
They
just
just
played the
kept
whole song,
playing.
played the song to the end, and it was like, what happened? Well, I fucking fell over, didn't I? And my hip's broken. But it was like amazing. And we were doing a show once, and I forgot the verse, and it was, I think, second verse, and it just went, I blanked completely. So I was playing around the riff, trying to remember it, and I couldn't fucking remember it. I was thinking shit, 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 shit. And then just as I remembered, I went to sing it. He went into solo, and then we finished the song. I was like, fuck, you know. So it's like nobody listening to each other; they're just listening to themselves. Whereas in this band, everybody's aware of everybody else. If one person starts to move, we all move together. We pick each other up. We're in tune with each other. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Because then you can just have fun. You feel supported, and you can relax, and you can have fun. And so it's a really entertaining thing. And the first show, I said to Jackson, I wanted him to do a drum solo, and then I said to Curran, do a guitar solo. And we had not rehearsed. He learned the songs before he came. He went to Indonesia, turned up, and he said, "When do we rehearse?" I said, "Oh, no, we won't be
We
rehearsing."
don't.
What when we get there? I said, "No, you turn up and you know the songs. I know the songs, and if he knows the songs, we're all playing the same song. Why do we want to rehearse? We know what we're doing." And he was like, "Okay." So to have that as his first show, and then me to say, "I want you to play a guitar solo before we play this," and he did, and it was fucking outstanding. And I was like, "Wow, that's a musician," because he a lot of experience with Nevermore and Annihilator. Jackson, of course, is a consummate drummer. So these people are live people. They're live. And so it isn't an issue for them. Do they get nervous? Are they trying their hardest? Yes. Do they make mistakes? Everybody does. But do they play from their soul? That's the difference. They play from their soul. And when you're on stage with that, it's like, wow, it feels like anything's possible. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be.
And what I love what you just talked about was that as far as chemistry goes, like there's two facets to that. So you've got the personal chemistry where like,
Yeah.
can I survive? Can I live in a van or a bandwagon or a bus with these guys for this long and not want to strangle them? But then there's also this musical chemistry And you and I have talked about this too. Is that obviously I'm a big Deadhead, and I
Yeah,
love I love improvisational music.
yeah, yeah,
And but like how you were talking is that like I remember seeing, which is interesting. So Dead and Company, who was Bob Weir's, from the Grateful Dead, that was his
yeah,
lineup.
yeah,
And much like you guys, I was like, he had every right to call it Dead and Company because he was there for, at least. I mean, he was there from the very beginning. You were
yeah,
there from like what, fourth album on, so of course
yeah,
you'd get this going. But I watched those guys before and many times watched someone have some sort of a malfunction, like a microphone went out or whatever.
yeah,
And those dudes stop, those dudes don't stop, but they look at each other and they kind of cue each other in
yeah,
and they play. They might repeat, yeah, like
yeah,
run the verse line again, but the
yeah,
song doesn't truly start until the
no,
singer starts singing.
yeah,
And I love that about this lineup, what you were just talking about, because that's an ego check. Like
yeah,
being able to say, I care enough about the song and this guy that like if he's not singing, the song really hasn't started, but we have
yeah,
to keep playing. It
yeah.
also shows your professionalism as a musician because if you can't do that, then like that's not gonna play.
I think
Like
that's it. I think that's it. It's listening. If you miss that, then you're not listening. You're playing. That's great, but you're not listening. So who are you playing with then if you're not listening? Because there's a whole other bunch of people you're with. So surely you're listening. You don't have to think that the vocals are important or that they're very important or whether the drummer's done a particular drum fill the best way he could or anything like that. You might think the tempo's a little quick here, a little slow there. But that's because you're playing ahead of it or you're playing. If he's slowing down, slow down with him. If
yeah,
he's speeding up, speed up with him. You
right.
don't play against that, and he's the engine. So follow him, and once you're following him, then everything sounds like it should sound, and so. But that does take you have to be in tune, and you have to be in tune with each other, and you have to be listening, and that's a remarkable difference. And it puts you in a safe zone. So you make a mistake, you knew you made it, they know you've just made it, but the audience are unaware of it. And that's the difference. It's like having your car and you're driving and somebody doesn't feel so well and they open the window and you stop the car, you turn off the engine, you get out the car, you walk around, you open the door, and then you go and have a cigarette waiting for them to get out to be sick. Or you keep the engine running and to see if they're going to be sick and the window's down and then they're not sick and they feel better and you're still moving. That's the difference. You don't stop the car and get out. Just don't. You don't need to. You just keep the engine moving. If they don't know, they will come back. They break a string, they'll come back with a new one. They lose where they are, they'll find it again. I mean, we did black metal on that first Indonesian show, and I think to close, and I think Curran played the lead riff through the verse. So he played the lead riff and then he played the lead riff through the verse, but he only played it through twice. And then he realized and he corrected himself. We'd never stopped. We like that was what's supposed to happen, but he corrected himself and then came and apologized. I
Uh,
was like, you didn't have to apologize. He went, wow, because I did that. I said, yeah, but we know that you knew that we knew.
it's
We all
live.
knew.
It's
But
I
what
mean
can we do? It's live,
that
yeah.
I mean that's the part of the live experience
Yes,
because I and much like what you said, like in the live experience, like I can't even tell you how many shows I've probably seen where I'm sure somebody fucked up, or like,
yes,
or maybe I even heard that they fucked up. But guess
yeah,
what? The minute it happened, it's gone. You
yes.
know. So as the player, it's hard for us to go, oh man, I really fucked that up. Where instead of just going, that was fucked up, dude. Okay, keep going.
Exactly. And you know yourself that when you're away you do something,
Mhm.
it seems like this huge thing. And you could come off and go, oh my God, I did that. And most people are going, did you? I never heard that. oh, did you? You know,
And
and
now you just owned up to the fact that you fucked
now
up.
you just told everybody you could have got away with it. Yeah, exactly. And I always remember, always remember certain person going, um, you know, if you fuck up, just throw a shape. And everybody looks like this shape. So you just do a real cool rock star pose and they forget you've just done it. You know? So it's like, okay, you've always got that in your back pocket as well, haven't you? So
I
yeah,
wish I could remember
amazing.
what band. I wish I could remember what band I was talking to. It was the singer for a legacy band, like an older band, and he was just like,
Yes,
he's like, whenever I forget the lyrics, I just point the mic out to the crowd. They all sing it,
that's it.
and
Yes,
then I go, "Oh, that's where it is." And I pull it back. But he's like, but it looks so cool, and they feel like they. And he's like, really? He goes, y'all are my teleprompter,
oh
man.
my God.
I
I
can't
remember
forget
there was,
shit.
I remember there was a show once, I can't remember what song it was in particular, but I'd flip verses. So I sung the third verse second. I sung the first verse. These guys right by me, right down at my feet, sung every single lyric to everything we did, every song we did, and then I did whatever it was. I think it was a classic song, and I flipped verses inadvertently, and I could see them at the corner of my eye, but they were staring at me like going. They just stopped singing and were just staring at me, like as if like that's not the right verse. And I felt like going, I know. Can you just go with it? I'll get it at the end. But it's
Keep
like,
cheering. I'm
yeah,
okay.
just I know. Don't tell everybody. Fuck's sake. Most people didn't know, but it is that you get that so in tune. But that's what I love about our music, and which gets a bad press a lot of times, and it's that kind of environment where they will they know everything. They know everything. They want to be part of everything. They will sing everything. They'll enjoy absolutely everything. And it's so wonderful. I mean, that's the beauty of doing black metal, that particular song, because of the stop, which is Exciter, of course. But when you stop and go, lay down your soul, you know,
To the
and
gods, rock and roll.
yeah, and to hear 50 people, 100 people, 500 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people, 50,000 people shout that at you is like, what the fuck? It's overpowering, and you think, holy fuck, So, there's moments like that where you think are amazing, but you can't consciously go, I better not fuck up the next verse because they'll all be looking at me going, you twat, you know.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like we gave you one chance, dude. You
Yeah,
fucked it
that's
up,
it. You
dude.
blew it. Fuck off. Get off. Get off.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have to say you got me excited talking earlier. Okay,
Good.
you got a live album. You said because that
Yes.
was my next thing. So you got a live album. You got what, an
Yep.
EP coming, and then
Yes.
a full length at the end of the year.
Yes.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude!
We got I'm trying to put two live out. At the minute we're mixing the one live, which we did recordings from South America, from the Tan tour we did with Possessed. So I got
Mm.
recordings of every live show, as I like to pull them in. And so we wanted to say a thank you because we had such a spectacular time on that run. So we're putting a live album together specifically for them. Obviously, we want to do a new record, but in the meantime, we wanted to release a single. It was suggested that we did a single. I thought, well, let's do more than a single. Let's do it like an EP or something. So we decided we'd do 4 tracks, maybe five, a bonus track on there, hidden bonus track, and that will be like a mini album, and that will have two new songs, two re-recordings, and a surprise song. And in the meantime, when we were in Sao Paulo, we were invited to Kiss FM, where they do a live in the studio session. So they do an interview. You play as many songs as you want to play, and
Mhm.
then they do an interview, and they intercut that, and it goes up on YouTube, and it's played on Kiss FM throughout Brazil. So we did 5 songs from the show, and it sounds so. My voice was fucked. My voice had been really fucked because I'd been a bit too excited and talking too much, which is not like me, obviously. But
You're
so
such a
my voice
quiet
was.
guy. You,
I know.
it's
I'm
amazing you and
so
I can even talk to each other because we're both like.
so true. But anyway, we did the session, and I thought, oh yeah, it was okay. Let's have a listen back. I don't want to have a listen back. let's have a listen. So they put it up, and I was like, holy fuck, is that what we sound like? It sounded amazing. So I've done a deal where it'll do its broadcast, it'll go up onto YouTube, but we're getting the audio pull. So there's 5 songs, we're going to put that on as a special release. So there'll be the live album, then there'll be the mini album, then there'll be this Kiss FM live session, and then the new album. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep it as exciting as possible and to put music out. You know, it's the whole point is I want to. The two live things, the session and the live album, are to capture what we are, the essence of what we are live. And of course, there's an opportunity with the two new songs on the mini album and then the album full to be us, you know, because we've been together for now 2 years, played a gazillion shows, and we're ready to record the three of us as a band. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting, you know. Yeah, I mean, to have this amount of interest in the band from the industry, but also from inside, from the guys inside, is wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah.
I mean, and what I love about it too is that you guys, I mean, there's going to be no shortage of Venom Inc. stuff coming out this
No,
year, and
no.
this is the kind of thing that I mean, from a perspective of being, I guess a businessy type person like you are. Obviously you're like, okay, that's good because it's keeping Venom Inc. in the forefront, but at the same time, like what you just said earlier, was that what appeals to me as a writer,
Yeah,
and as a musician myself, I'm like, I wish I had this kind of problem, like that I
yeah,
could put out four fucking things in like 1 year. But that is going to keep it keeps it fresh for you. It keeps it fresh for the fans, but it also really continues to solidify Jackson and
yeah,
Curran and their roles in Venom
yes.
Inc. because I have a hard time right now even remembering that they're new.
I know, and you're not the only one. I've had that said to me so many times, and a lot of people, um, who've met us and have done interviews on what we've done on the 2 years, um, have not approached them too like they're new.
Yeah.
They go straight into when you did this. It's like nobody's a revisionist. Nobody's going, what happened 2 years ago? Or what happened 10 years ago? And what were you doing when this happened? It's like nobody's looking back. They're just dealing with what's in front of them. And I think that's because they're two remarkable individuals. Not to take away anything from any individuals that have been with this band or in Venom, at all. But these two people, musicians, are quite remarkable. And I think when people have seen them live, that's what's happening. That's what's happening, and that's great. And will that happen to everybody who sees us live? Probably not. Probably people who didn't thought I was a dick and didn't like me before think I'm a dick and don't like me now. Whatever. Maybe I feel the same about them. Um, that's just life, isn't it? But there's no question of the quality. There's no question over the quality. And so most people are just getting blown by that. And it's like, what the fuck, When you see Curran Murphy do a guitar solo in this show, I mean, it's something else completely. It is something else completely. It's just wonderful as a performance, but also as a musician. And the same thing for Mark, to watch him play, how he interprets the songs. He plays from his soul. He's like, Bill Ward meets Dave Lombardo, mixed in with Ginger Baker, and fucking you jump on him. It's like, I know they're big names, but that kid is just got the heart of a lion and the skill of the devil, So it's a fantastic mix.
And you know what else it is too is that you're talking about Jackson too is that it's also rare when you hear a metal drummer that has a bit of swing to them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
even when you're playing like thrash or like very like you can tell the difference between
yeah.
someone who is like very mechanic sounding
Mm,
versus someone who's got some flow to them, And
yeah,
that is very audible in this lineup, which I
yeah.
was like, yeah, and it might not, maybe the average listener might not think they're hearing something different, but like I could hear it because it's almost got this. it's got a looser flow. It doesn't feel like it's so like it's
Yeah,
tight,
yeah.
but not tight like
No,
tight
not
wad, you
overtime.
know?
Not overtime. I think there's a
Exactly.
danger. There's a bridge that needs to be crossed. You know, the original Venom drummer always talked about push and pull, and that's how he saw it. You know, I mean, that's because his tempos were criticized all the time because he couldn't keep the same tempo.
Mhm.
But I knew, even though there was a tempo issue, uh, I knew what he was meaning. I knew what he meant. Whether he could execute it perfectly, that just required some more attention to the playing
Right.
and stuff to finesse it. But I understood what he was saying. Um, and the drummer we had previous to Jackson, he was a machine. You know, he
Hmm.
was like start on one, end on 10, and it was like a fucking tank driving over you.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
Which was great, powerful, and all of that. But Jackson's approach was somewhere in between. He's powerful, more powerful,
Mhm.
but he has that, like you said, the movement in there. You know, he sees it in pictures. And I always used to say, whenever we would do anything before, recording or a new song, and he go, "How do you want me to approach it?" I'd say, "If it feels good, if you feel it, then you must play it. Because if you feel it, it's natural." And that's what we need. We need the best of you. So I can try and tell you how you should be playing it, but I'm not a drummer. I can restrict you to play what I want to hear. But again, that means I'm not getting the best you I could get. So it's the same thing with coding. It's like, you know, obviously you need to learn the shapes. Obviously, you need to learn where everything is in its diametric opposition. But you need to be you. You need to be you in there because you're the reason you're here because of who you are, how you play, and your character. And your guitar sound is your voice, not somebody else's. It's yours. So
Oh,
you need to speak out with that, and that's it. So you get both of their personalities in their performances, and they're extensions of themselves, and that's what I find so exciting.
well, because then it feels new to you.
Mm,
Like it feels fresh.
yes,
So like
fresh.
like with this lineup, if you're playing again, like if you're, I don't know, let's just throw an old one out. Let's say if you're playing black metal, right?
Mhm.
It probably feels way more exciting and a little more different because it's not like you've been playing it with these people the same way every night, each night,
Yes,
boxed in, solid, no
yes,
room
yes,
to grow or expand or anything.
yeah,
Whereas like over here with this lineup, you're like, if I fuck up, like I know that they're gonna keep playing the verse
yeah.
until I come in, and then so that's got to be, and as a listener,
Mm.
I hear that. I can hear that in
Oh,
bands,
good, good. That's how it feels, Dee. That's how it feels. It feels that some of these songs have been liberated, and they feel free, you know. And it's like, wow. So you know, even I'm, you know, and I've heard these songs for a long, long time, with me doing them and not me doing them. And I love them as much then as someone as an observer, and then getting the privilege to play them too. I enjoyed playing them, but it got to a point where they felt like you said they were boxed in, and it was like they're standards now, and it's like okay, these songs shouldn't feel like standards. They should feel alive, and to now feel that they feel like they're liberated because the newer players feel excited by playing them, and they're taking them into kind of avenues that they haven't been in for quite some time, probably since they were originally performed, is wonderful for me in particular. So I suppose that's probably why I'm enjoying it so much as well, because they're enjoying it so much. So it's kind of revitalized me. You know, it's not like me putting my old dressing gown on, my slippers, and my pipe, and just sitting in my rocking chair playing through these songs in the order that they should be played. Actually, you know, my battery's full of energy, and I'm getting, you know, pushed into this vat of wine where it's like drink as much as we can now. Yeah, it's like fucking fantastic. Yeah.
I don't know, man, but I'd pay top dollar to see you do a show in like slippers and a robe and a pipe and sitting in a chair. Dude, that would be
Wouldn't that just be fucking brilliant? You wouldn't have to wait to get back on the bus. You could just take your time.
Look, if there was ever a question when you were done, you'd be like, okay, that might be it. Although I'd be
Yeah,
like,
that's a, I
I'd be
could
like,
do that, instead of retiring, because of course, as you know, in our business, you don't retire, just stop. But maybe that's my retirement plan, to do my wheelchair version, and my sorry, my what do you call it, a rocking chair version. So I just got in a rocking chair and do that, an intimate set, and we just go round and round doing that.
look,
But I learned to smoke a pipe as well. So yeah, maybe a fishing hat. Just a fishing hat with a rod, a
the
bucket,
the little
sitting
lures on
in,
it.
sitting there. Yeah,
Look, it gives a whole new meaning to black and roll.
yeah,
Like it's
completely, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah.
well, so I guess finally the big thing people can ask also, and I am gonna is about touring. So I'm assuming that
Yes.
since the album's not coming out till the end of the year, yeah, we probably won't see a solid like I'm guessing a North American tour at least maybe until what like 27
Yeah,
probably,
I
right?
mean, we tried to extend the South American tour, and then I wanted to run into North America, but for whatever reason, that didn't kind of come together. Now we had visas, myself and Mark, until March. Which they're going to expire, so we have to then reapply for visas, which does take a few months. And so realistically, it's going to be around about towards the end of the year, round about the album drop. So hopefully the album will be finished by then and ready to prepare to be dropped maybe, I don't know, September, November, around about then. And that should be when the US tour and Canada is lined up again. We've got a few exciting things we're waiting to hear from, which are bigger. So we just got to take our time and wait for that. But we certainly want to get back to the States in a bigger way and with the new album in our hand. The only real concern at the moment, and it is a real concern, is I have quite a few tattoos, and there's a kind of issue trying to get into America at the minute with tattoos and visas. So the application for work visas for the US for British citizens was pretty laborious to start with, very expensive. It took quite a lot of time. But if you prepare in advance, you pay your money and you do everything right, well in advance, there was never been a problem with getting a visa for us, never. So we've never cancelled the show or cancelled the tour because we couldn't get visas. There has been erroneous things, but never visa issues because it takes time and you plot ahead. You know what I mean? You could. It's like I don't know who books time off work and then tries to find a vacation hotel, like once they've finished work for the holiday. It's like you book it before, you plot your time off work, see if you can get the vacation time, and then you book your vacation. You don't like wait till you're actually on vacation to try and book your vacation because you might not be able to get there. So you just plan ahead. That's smart, but it is very expensive. But right now, with the this current administration is working, there's a filter, and I'm not sure that it's going to be so easy for us to get in. Hopefully, we shouldn't have a problem, but you never know, and they could decide to change the rule, change the price. So I just hope that they don't. I hope that the current administration, which will be there when we come, just find that the arts, particularly, are very important to us all. It's our liberation for individuality, but also it's an expression of art. And I don't get into the political or anything like that. You can say we're sub-religious, I guess, but we're not dictating things to people or trying to influence people to think certain ways about anything. It's just about allowing that freedom of expression at the show. We're not advocating doing anything after the show, before the show, just at the show, liberate yourself, just come and have some fun. And so I hope that they look at I don't know who's in control of the arts in the administration, but I hope whoever it is looks at that and sees that international artists, they're doing a good thing. American artists coming here, or us going to somewhere else in the world, or us going there. international artists should be going all over to everywhere,
Hmm.
because it's about entertainment. It's about just sharing that attachment, that communication across, and it supersedes politics and religion and language, and so it should anyway. I'm sure there's voices and people want to use their platform to say certain things and stuff, and I don't know if that's good or bad. It's just not my thing. I don't criticize them for it, and I don't demolish them for it.
Hmm.
That's their choice. But for me, if I could get into a room with a whole load of people who just want to forget the day, forget the shit, how much the eggs cost, that they can't buy steak, they should have liver, that they can't park their car and that fuel's expensive, but they can get into a room, we can just have some fun together and just let go for a bit, even for a couple of hours, and then go back to the crap that's out there because it'll still be waiting for us. Then I want to liberate people in that way, just to entertain. So I hope that it's easy for us to still get in. I've been keeping an eye on the whole thing, and it's been difficult for a lot of bands, and some have chose, well, I'm not going there, and they're not coming here, and because everybody's a bit nervous now. I mean, even to say that, and this is on point, even Forbidden and Violence, both coming out of, well, I think Texas, and I think it's Texas or
Hmm.
Nevada maybe, and California. Even those guys, a couple of them were like mentioning they were a bit kind of nervous about going to Latin America because the whole thing with Venezuela just happened. And I was like, but that's Venezuela. It's not where we're going and stuff. But, it's a realistic thing. You think, oh, that kind of movement, if our British government decide they're not going to help the administration with a certain thing and that twists into a way, does that mean that's going to affect us getting in for a decision our government made, which is really fucking sad, I think, because it's like governments are governments. They do what they do. They're elected to do whatever they would do, and we hope they're looking out for us. And it seems to be sometimes they're not. Of course, we all know the political implications of that, but that shouldn't affect you and me, like on the street, what we watch or what we listen to or how much fun we can have. That's our escape. You work very hard. Most Americans, as the most English, work very hard, try and earn as much as they can, try and support their families and feed themselves and just they want to have vacations, they want to have some fun, they want to have their barbecues, they want to go and watch the game, and they
Hmm.
want to just have a simple, safe, simple life, which is what everybody wants. So, and part of that is the arts, is art and museums and motorsport and football and ice hockey and painting and music. Um, that's our getaway. And so to look at having restrictions on any of that is like, I don't think that's the right thing to do. So I hopefully they'll encourage that, and we'll be able to get in there, no problem, get our visas, and we'll be ready to rock by the end of the year.
Now, see, that's going to be fucking incredible. And just remember, my birthday is September 5th. So that's when I
I got
expect you
that.
guys
I
to hit
forgot
the,
that.
that's when you
It's
guys are,
August what? August what did you say? November the what?
September 5th is my
December?
birthday.
December? When in December?
You shithead. You're such a smart ass. I love you.
July the
Let's,
2nd. I won't forget. July the
uh,
2nd.
yeah, yeah, and you're like what, 72? You look
Oh, you
incredible.
bastard.
Well, Tony,
Yeah.
dude, thank you so much for talking all
Oh,
about
man.
this, man. And I can't wait to, just I can't wait to see all the goodies that are gonna come our way, man. This is gonna be incredible.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Don. And love to the missus, of course. And I hope the dog doesn't need another shit in the garden. But if he does, I know you'll look after that for me. But it's good to see you. It's good to see you smiling. Good to see you with positive energy. Very good. Again, congratulations on the album and for the new book coming. I can't wait to read it. The other one was superb. I recommend everybody get Don's book. You won't be disappointed. And listen to his music. Go on Spotify or whatever he wants you to go on, Bandcamp or something. Just get your shit together and go and have a listen because the dude is worth listening to. And I love you very much. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It was so good.
Dude, I love you too, man. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a good night. Be good.